What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today we are going to be reviewing this little Seiko. But before we do that, I've got a couple of videos I want to share before. We've got a review of this Yema and a review of this Loris on the channel, as well as an unboxing of this watch and a review of this as well. But all of those videos will be linked down in the description. So today I want to talk about this little SNK which I got for my birthday, and I want to tell you why it is the perfect watch to start off your collection. Now this is one of Seiko's older 5 models. They've been out for quite a long time now. Seiko have actually done the new Seiko 5 field watches, which I think is sort of a higher end replacement for these, even though these I think they're still actually being made, because you can buy them quite readily on places like Creation Watches. Amazon have still got them. You can find them on eBay and other places as well. It'll all be linked down in the description where you can actually find one. So this is the 807, and they actually do a few different other colorways. They do a green, a black, and a cream as well. And all of them have got different numbers. I think it's 3, 5 and 9 respectively for the different colorways, and you can also get them on a bracelet as well. So if you're looking for one of these watches, I would recommend it on a bracelet, but I opted for the strap because I'm going to be probably swapping it out anyway for a NATO or something like that. So let's get the specifications out of the way, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about why this is a really good entry-level watch into collecting and being an enthusiast. So this one is a really handy 37mm diameter, so it's really nice and compact, perfect for us guys with slim wrists. It is 10.5mm thick, so it's not a massively thick watch for it being an automatic. It has a 18mm lug width, which is really nice. I'm glad Seiko haven't opted for a 19mm. That's really nice to see. Lug to lug, we're looking at 42.5mm, so this is definitely perfect, again, for us guys with slim wrists. It has a hard Lex crystal, which is essentially a mineral crystal, but Seiko work a little bit of magic with it to make it a little bit better. We have a sandblasted stainless steel case, a really disappointing 30 meters of water resistance. I'm really let down by that, and that is probably one of the biggest drawbacks about this watch, is the lack of water resistance. Even 50 meters would have been better, but 30 is just not good enough. And then the weight is 59 gram on this supplied strap. And I have to say that I am a big fan of this watch. Oh, just let me give it a clean because it's a bit mucky. That's better. So yeah, I really am a big fan of this watch, especially this blue version, because the white contrasts against it so nice. So starting out, we've got a white printed minute track and then some little tiny Lume dots at each 5-minute interval. We've then got 5-minute markers all the way around, apart from at the 3 o'clock where we've got a day-date complication, and at the 12 where we've got that little arrow. You can also see we've got 12 hour in the center as well, which just is inside that nice white circle. Under the 12 we've got the Seiko 5 logo, which is applied. Really nice to see at this price point. I wasn't expecting it to be applied. I was actually thinking it was going to be printed, but it's really nice to see. And we've also got automatic 21 joules above the 6 o'clock. And I really like it. Even though there's quite a bit packed onto this small dial, it's still extremely legible and easy to read. The only thing that I'm not overly keen on is the date window. I wish it was colour matched, but that would have probably drove the price up a little bit too much. So yeah, it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think it sticks out a little bit too much in my opinion. To the handset now, and we've got these really sharp angular hands which look really nice, and then the second hand has a lollipop on the end and then a little red tip just to make it easy to spot when it's going around the dial. So yeah, very nice. Even though there's a lot going on this dial, it is still really easy to read. So yeah, definitely a big fan of the aesthetic of this one. Then we get to the bezel, and it's just a really clean, simple bezel, nothing going on, and it is sandblasted to match the case. So again, the case, is all sandblasted at the top, and then we've got the little crown, which is a little bit of a pain to use, which I'll talk more about in a minute, down at the just offset from the 4 o'clock. The build quality of this watch is actually really impressive. The watch body feels really strong and really robust, and I've got no issues with the watch head whatsoever. It all feels really tight and well put together, which is really impressive to see at this low price point. So now we get on to the strap, and like the Loris I reviewed, which is just sat there, it uses a really not very nice strap. It's like a canvas strap, but the material is really not that nice. I think it's actually might be the same strap as the Loris, but just with a squared off end rather than a circular one. So it's got a little leather patch there just to bolster the adjustment holes. Stitching looks really nice, but again, it's just the fabric is not very nice. Same with the Loris, it does actually feel a little bit more premium and a little bit softer, but it's still not that pleasant to wear, unfortunately. Taking a look at this side, again, we've got some colour match stitching, and then we've got one floating metal keeper, which is like a Zulu style, because it's sort of rounded off. And it matches the case perfectly, which is always nice to see. Then we've got a signed buckle, which is again sandblasted. Really nice looking buckle. If I were going to get a different strap, then I might actually borrow the buckle off of this one and you know, put it on a different strap. I think I like it when, you know, the hardware matches the case. It's just one of those things that I like. And then taking a look at the inside, you can see we've got stitching, and then there is your case back. You can see the 7S26 movement inside, which is the movement before the NH35. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute. So yeah, the strap is definitely a mixed bag. I really like the aesthetic. It colour matches nice. It's just a little bit iffy in places. So now we get onto the comfort, and again, like the Loris I've recently reviewed, the strap is probably the biggest letdown for this watch in terms of comfort. Like the Loris, it's really itchy and really horrible to wear on a hot day. Cooler days, it's not as bad, and it is definitely a little bit better than the Loris's. It's not as itchy, but it is still, you know, quite aggravating on your wrist, especially when it's hot. It does make your wrist a little itchy and a little bit irritated. Really a big shame, actually, to be honest. So in use, I do have one little complaint, and that is the crown. Because it is so small, it is really quite tricky to use. You have to pinch it from the back, get your fingernail in. So if you've not got any fingernails, it's a bit of a chore. So you can see you've just got a little bit of a notch there, and you have to pull it out. It is a two-stage crown, so one pull does your dates, two pulls and it actually adjusts your time, but getting your fingernail in can be a bit of a chore. And because the crown is so small and really set into the case, it actually makes it really quite difficult to use, especially if you know, you're in a bit of a quick situation where you need to adjust the time and date quickly. Then good luck with that, because it is a nightmare to use. That's probably my biggest complaint about Seiko 5 watches, is the crowns being so small and hard to use, especially on this model. So what I'm going to do now is pop this on wrist and show you what it wears like. Right guys, so here it is on my slim 6-inch wrist, and you know what, because of the really compact size, I think it looks absolutely fantastic on my wrist. This is definitely a really good proportioned watch, because it's got those really small 42.5 lug to lug and a really small diameter of 37mm. It just looks really nice on my wrist. I think it will look just as good on a 5.5-inch wrist as well. So if you've got a slim wrist like myself, this is definitely a great field watch to buy. In terms of comfort, it's actually really nice. The you know, the watch head conforms really nicely to my wrist. There's no overhang at all because it is so small. The only letdown, like with the Loris, which is just there, is the strap. It's really itchy, really agitating, especially on hot summer days. In winter, it's not as bad. It doesn't get as itchy or as agitating, but it is still not the nicest strap to wear. So again, like I recommended with the Loris, swap it out for a blue NATO or something like that, and it'll be night and day difference. I am on the last adjustment hole, so if you've got slimmer wrists than myself, then unfortunately, you know, this is not going to fit you all that well. Bit of a shame. But yeah, comfort, it is a very comfortable watch to wear if you put it on a different strap. So now we get on to the Lume, and actually the Lume on this watch is pretty good. It's definitely better than the Loris's. It's got a more generous application. My biggest complaint about the Loris's Lume was there's no dots. This one makes up for that, and it does have little Lume dots all the way around, so it makes it a little bit easier to read the time of this watch in low light situations. And like the Loris, it uses Lume Bright, so it does get bright, it does last longer, and the application is a little bit better as well, so it lasts even longer and it gets even brighter than the Loris's does. So it's very nice Lume on this one. It's obviously not, you know, up to Seiko's diver standards, or even their more expensive models. But for the price point, it is actually really, really impressive Lume. So yeah, definitely good there. Now we get on to the movement, and as I mentioned, it says 7S26, which is a 21,600 beat per hour movement, negative 20 to plus 40 per day. So it's definitely not the most accurate of movements. 21 joules, 40 hour power reserve, no hacking and automatic winding. So it is a, you know, well spec movement. Like I said, it's the movement that came before the NH35, and you can actually find this movement in the SKX and that line of watches. So it is a really popular movement in its day. It was really good back when it first came out. And yeah, it is a solid, reliable movement. Seiko movements are, just like the NH35, it's robust, it feels great, it's quick to use, it's got good features apart from the hacking missing. But you know, it's such a good, reliable and solid movement. You can regulate these as well to make them more accurate if you're into tinkering with your watches. I'm not going to mess about with it, to be perfectly honest, because if I wanted like bang on accurate time, I just use my phone. This for me is all about the experience and that lovely sweep at the seconds hand. You know, accurate time, yeah, who needs it? But anyway, yeah. So that is that. So the movement feels great. It's really good quality movement for this price point. And you can see it, like I said, in more expensive watches as well. Final thoughts of this watch. I would say yes, this gets a wholehearted recommended from me, especially if you get it from Creation Watches, where it's about £60. I think you do have to pay for shipping, and it might take a while because it comes from abroad if you live in the UK. So you will have to wait a bit of a time for it. But I think paying 60 quid for this is an absolute bargain, and it is definitely a perfect watch to get you started on this hobby. It's popular for a reason. And I bought it because I wanted one. It's not the watch that started me off. I was actually started off with a different Seiko 5, which I no longer own. But I'm very tempted to pick one up again if I can find one. But yeah, definitely a great starter watch to get you into this hobby. It just has all the hallmarks of a great affordable watch. It's got that good build quality, it's got good lume, it's reliable, well made, looks really nice. So yeah, definitely a really solid entry level watch to get you into this hobby. And I can wholeheartedly recommend that you pick one of these up. Even if you've already started this hobby, then definitely pick one up, and I think you'll really enjoy it for a long time. So that is pretty much it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more reviews. I've got plenty more comparisons coming and loads of other content coming soon. So definitely subscribe for that. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads, and of course follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again, I'll see you soon.